Okay, now we have Genesis chapter 2. It was done. Heaven and earth, 6 days, all-inclusive starter kit. God was so pleased with themselves, they took a day off, put his feet up. Now, if you're wondering where some of this comes from, you have to read the original, which I know you all do, because otherwise you wouldn't believe it if you weren't reading it. And already we run into problems. There is nothing on the earth, no grass on the fields. God forgot to make it rain, and there was no man to till the soil. So he made a man out of dust, blows life into him. God plants a garden in Eden, even though just a few days ago everything was bearing fruit. And catch this, he's lost it. He plants a tree of life with full intention of forbidding his main characters to eat of it. Is God an asshole as well as raving mad? There is a river and it goes to 4 places and waters everything. Havilah is where God buried the gold to fuck people up. Second river is Gihon, water the land of Cush. Third is the Tigris, flowing east of Isslar. And the fourth is Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the garden. And he says to the man, okay, till it and tend it. Do whatever you want, but do not eat from the tree I stuck there in the middle of the garden. Eat of it and you die. Now God forgot he already made male and female just the week before, likely because he was an idiot, but let's not get too personal. He spent eternity alone and didn't want the man to do the same. So verse 18, I will make a fitting helper for him. So, forgetting he had already covered the land and sky with creatures, he formed a bunch more out of the dirt and had the man give them all names. But Adam didn't find one helper. So God comes up with a new plan. He takes a rib out of Adam and makes a woman. Gave it to the man as a present. And that's why a man leaves his parents and finds himself a woman. Now, if you can follow that logic. But there's another thing you have to notice it in the Bible if you ever get to read it. If you don't want to read it, that's perfectly fine. It's understandable. It's not a very good book. That's another thing that a lot of people forget, is that this book is probably it's about mediocre. And anybody that's gone to university and studied could write a better book. It's as simple as that. And when you get to the Christian Bible, it borrows most of its stuff from the Torah. And when you get to what's the other one called, the Quran, it's almost pure plagiarism, and it's even worse. It's a celebration of mediocrity. Now, let's get back to where we were. I have to do all this in one thing because I can't edit anymore until I get. It doesn't matter. I shouldn't be telling you that because it doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay. So, was there anything to say about this? Oh, the tree of knowledge. Now, why is it that God creates man with a curiosity to know and then puts a tree of knowledge where all he has to do is eat of it? Now, this, of course, you can't take it literally, because if you take things literally, it doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, you've already contradicted yourself by saying God created everything and then everything was gone and he created it again out of dirt. I mean, there's 2 different creations going on in the first 2 chapters. And you get men and women running the whole place, and then suddenly you don't have them anymore, and then he takes a rib out of a man and makes a woman out of it. Now, don't try to make that work. It just doesn't work. So it's got to be symbolizing something, and it's probably symbolizing something stupid, because when it gets down to it, it's actually almost backwards, because what really happens is women get pregnant and they have children. I don't know if anybody heard about that, but the babies do not come from storks. They come from women, and it's through sex. And perhaps the tree of knowledge has a little bit to do with this. But it might also have a little bit to do with the fact that once we start knowing, and this happened not so long ago, once we start knowing, it changes our perspective on reality. One of the first things we know is that we die. And that created probably a lot of stress in our lives, so we started trying to make meaning out of it. Like a bird doesn't try to figure out what matters by dying. But one of the things that I think the biggest problem is we know we die, but we don't know that we're born, which is kind of silly because we don't only die if we're born. But we're not going to talk about reincarnation, that kind of stuff, till we get on a little bit later. And I think we'll just leave that for now, because the next chapter is a lot more exciting, and I think we can get back to the tree of knowledge in the next chapter and get really pissed off at the gods. And because God and gods are still plural here. They don't really get singular. They don't get singular until Abraham comes along or something. But whatever.